You've told yourself you've changed. You've watched the motivational videos, read the books, taken the cold showers, started the new habits. You've promised that this time, it will be different, that you won't fall back, that you've finally become the kind of man who moves forward. But then one day, a small crack appears, a bit of discomfort, a bit of stress, a bit of loneliness. And just like that, you're back. Back in the same loop, the same habit, the same unconscious click, the same spiral. And the worst part, it's not just the action that hurts, it's what comes after the voice. That voice that says, "See, you haven't changed. You'll always be like this. You're a fraud." That voice is not your enemy, but it's not your truth either. That voice is shame. And it's the silent engine behind your stuckness. Shame doesn't scream. It whispers. It hides. It camouflages as humility, as self-awareness, even as accountability. But it's none of those things. Shame is not the realization that you've made a mistake. That's guilt. Shame is the belief that you are the mistake, that no matter what you do, you are broken at the root. And because you believe that, you begin to behave like it. You sabotage, you overthink, you relapse, you shrink, you isolate, you self-destruct. Not because you want to, but because something deep inside believes you don't deserve any different. And that belief, that unconscious identification with shame, is the single biggest reason why men stay stuck, repeating the same patterns, even when they know better. Carl Jung didn't use the word shame the way modern psychology does. But his concept of the shadow is exactly where shame lives. The shadow is everything in you that you reject, suppress, deny, or exile. It's the part of you you hide, not just from others, but from yourself. And the longer you leave it in the dark, the more powerful it becomes. It starts driving your behavior from the back seat. You find yourself doing things you swore you'd never do again. Saying things that don't align with who you want to be. Numbing yourself with pleasure, distraction, or chaos, not because you're lazy or undisciplined, but because you're trying to avoid the unbearable weight of unprocessed shame. Let's go deeper. Shame is not just an emotion. It's a nervous system state. When you are in shame, your whole body collapses inward. Your chest caves, your eyes drop, your voice tightens, your breath becomes shallow. You lose access to your power center physically and psychologically. You can't make bold decisions from shame. You can't lead from shame. You can't connect deeply from shame. You can't create, speak, move, or love freely from shame. And yet most men live with a constant low-grade shame they don't even recognize. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's there, shaping every choice, every reaction, every habit. It's the shame of not being good enough, not being strong enough, not being successful enough, not being desirable enough, not being masculine enough. And here's the trap. Because shame is so painful, we don't sit with it. We run. We run into porn, into work, into validation, into performance, into silence. And in doing so, we reinforce the very pattern we're trying to break. Because every escape from shame creates more shame. You relapse, so you feel ashamed. Then you hide. Then you act from that disconnection. Then you relapse again. And round you go. The pattern doesn't repeat because you're weak. It repeats because the shame has never been seen. So, what does it mean to see shame? It means to stop running from it. It means to sit in the discomfort, to stop blaming the habit and start asking, what wound is this trying to cover? Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." That darkness for many men is shame. But when you finally bring light to it, something incredible happens. You realize shame was never truth. It was a story you inherited, a story you absorbed, a story your nervous system adapted to in order to survive. But it's a story that can be rewritten. Let me be clear. Shame is not your fault. It is inherited, taught, modeled, installed. Maybe your father never told you he was proud of you. Maybe your teachers praised the obedient, not the bold. Maybe you were punished for feeling too much or needing too much. Maybe your first failure was met with silence or mockery. Over time, you started to believe, I am too much. I am not enough. I am not lovable as I am. And those beliefs became identity. That identity became behavior. That behavior became a loop. And here you are stuck. But now, you can choose to see it. And once you see it, you can start to dissolve it. So, how do you begin? First, name it. When you feel the urge to act out a familiar pattern, pause. Ask, is this coming from alignment or avoidance? Most unconscious behaviors, especially the ones we regret, are attempts to avoid shame. When you can see that you gain power, you're no longer fighting the symptom, you're addressing the source. Second, breathe into it. Shame lives in the body, not the mind. You cannot think your way out of it. You have to feel it, safely, slowly, without judgment. Sit in silence. Close your eyes. Notice where in your body you feel tension. Tight chest, heavy stomach, frozen jaw. That's where the shame lives. Breathe into that space. Say internally, you are allowed to be here. That act alone begins to integrate the shadow. Third, speak it. Not to everyone, but to someone. A journal, a mirror, a mentor, a friend. The moment shame is spoken, it begins to lose its grip. It can no longer live in the dark. It cannot manipulate you when it has been witnessed. Fourth, rewrite the loop. Shame says, because I failed, I am a failure. You rewrite it by saying, because I failed, I learned something. Shame says, I am unworthy of love. You rewrite it by saying, I am healing the part of me that believed I had to earn love. This is not toxic positivity. This is nervous system reprogramming. Fifth, create from it. Your pain is not the enemy, it's potential. Your shame, when seen and integrated, becomes your deepest fuel for authenticity, depth, presence. Jung believed that our greatest gifts are hidden in our darkest places. That includes shame, especially shame. Here's a practical daily practice. Every night before bed, write down 3 things. One moment you felt shame today, even a small one. One way you acted because of it. One truth that could dissolve that shame. Example: I felt shame when I stayed silent in a group conversation. I acted passive. Truth: I have a voice, even if it shakes. That's the reprogramming. And every time you do it, the loop gets weaker. Also, practice body reclamation. Shame makes you shrink. So practice expansion. Stand tall, shoulders open, breath deep. Hold eye contact. Not as a performance, but as a physical reclaiming of space. Your nervous system needs to feel your permission to be here. You don't need to earn it. You already are. You are not your patterns. You are not your past. You are not your habits. You are the awareness waking up inside them. You are the space that can choose again. That's what breaks the loop. Not willpower, not shame, but compassion, married with clarity. The reason shame persists is because it thrives in secrecy. So speak it. The reason patterns repeat is because we try to fight them instead of understand them. So listen. The reason you felt stuck is not because you are weak, but because you believed you had to be someone else to be free. You don't. You just have to stop running from yourself. What's one pattern you keep repeating, and what's the deeper shame underneath it that you've been avoiding? Name it in the comments. Give your shame a voice. Not to stay in it, but to release it. And I'll see you in video 10. This time, come with nothing to prove, only something to heal.